As an entrepreneur athlete, my routine is everything. In this video, I'm going to run you through the entire health optimization system that I use to complete Ironmans, natural bodybuilding, and bike over 200 kilometers a week while I run my 7-figure health company. So being an entrepreneur athlete essentially means prioritizing the body just as much as we prioritize business. And no, this isn't some gimmicky write down, meditate, sauna, cold plunge routine structure. It's simply adhering to the laws of output. And the laws of output are as follows. Everything that is generated in reality from each of our standpoints comes from us. And even though we might generate a very successful business that can run on its own, the original parent of that business to some extent is the business owner. So the sources of output with Amazon, Tesla, Walmart, whatever you name it, and your business are related to the person that started them. So therefore, to some extent, there is a connection between the output of the business owner and the business that they create. So fundamentally speaking, we have two principles of output here to balance. What the business outputs in terms of value, service, etc., and what we output in terms of running the business, quality of life, etc. And my argument is that if we're not optimizing and dealing with the constraints of our bodily outputs, which I'll break down for you in a second, then there's no way that we're ever going to reach the highest levels of success of what we can create out of a business. And that's what being an entrepreneur athlete means to me. So we're essentially going to break down how to not burn out and how to create the highest levels of output possible with yourself so that you can do the same thing with your business. Now, the output constraints of ourselves are easily categorized into these three things. How we perform, so this could be training as well as output in terms of work, etc. How we fuel ourselves, what we put in ourselves, supplements, food, water, and how we recover, sauna, steam room, cold plunge, sleep. That is the three cycles that the body has told us that we have to do for the rest of our lives. On top of obviously our time, so what goes into actually putting time into recovery, fuel, training, etc. And this is exactly why OptiMobility and the company that I built has made automation a non-negotiable, because it frees up that fourth pillar of time. It's going to take a shit ton of time to cook the food that I need to sustain my athletic performance and keep my body at that perfect level. It's going to take a lot of time to make sure that all these training systems and sleep protocols and all these things are happening seamlessly on the back end. And it's going to take way too much time for me to run around all over the place while I'm grabbing the data of my body, my blood work, and my gut tests and putting it all in motion. So it was a non-negotiable for me when we started hiring chefs and housekeepers for our clients that I got one in my home that literally takes care of it all for me as well. This is a distinction that most people don't understand and they don't make, is the work that we're doing with ourselves is not nearly reciprocal of our time, even though we have to do the work to ourselves to get some sort of output out of us. So essentially, even though you and I have to eat, it doesn't mean that we have to be the ones that cook every single one of our meals. And that's pretty obvious. But when we try and outsource this, or we try and find ways to not cook our own food, it doesn't get healthy, it gets expensive, and it's inefficient. So that's why we had to make a system that prioritizes the person, myself, as the centerpiece behind food, rather than me having to go out and pay for quick, shitty food. Because if I'm in flow, or if I'm chasing a new metric, or building a new product, or just working, I'm not going to stop that flow cycle just to get up and go make some healthy food for myself. I need to have help, so that way I can stay on the computer or stay at a client seminar or whatever it is and seamlessly still maintain that high level of output that is coming from my body. So whenever I'm on meetings, I'll have the chef knock on the door and just drop off the food to my desk as I continue to grind away. Bullshit. If you have to wake up every day and write everything for yourself out before you get to work, it's not about you being finite and you grounding everything to pen and paper and writing out a routine. It's about you enabling your creative output and your creative flow, and the constraints that your body pre-imposes on you for that are way more severe than what you want out of the body. And that's something that people don't understand. If you're gonna write down, I'll wake up at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. every morning, and then I'm gonna sauna and cold plunge and work out, if you're not designed for that, and if you're not built for that, it's not going to work for you. It's as simple as that. Sure, you can force away at waking up at 5 and misaligning with your circadian rhythm. And sure, you can try all these things, but realistically speaking, you have to get in a flow every single day to create the highest quality output sources out of you while fueling your body. So a lot of people have this completely backwards. They don't understand how to fuel, perform, and recover properly using science, using data, using chefs, and they're running around constantly, putting bad shit in their body, not training properly, not sleeping properly, and then they wake up one morning because they need to be productive, and they try and orchestrate a morning routine for themselves, and obviously it's not going to work. So this is the daily health stack that I use to make sure that I'm not one of those fools that tries to constantly carve out a new morning routine just because I want to be more efficient. I'm in bed at the same time consistently that aligns with my circadian rhythm and my circadian cycle. So that's around 10:30 to 11 p.m. I put on mouth tape, an earplug, and an eye mask just so I don't get any eyes in and I activate my nose breathing. And I leave room for bad sleeps. If I'm going on a really intense bike today, I'm gonna tear my legs off and I'm probably not gonna have the best sleep ever as compared to a rest day sleep yesterday where I got a 92 sleep score. And that's fine, it doesn't matter. So that's what I do for my sleep. I also go outside and swim at our local pool. And currently I'm not doing any heat therapy, so no sauna, no cold plunging, but I do them in the winter. And that's fine too. It doesn't matter because I'm biking, I'm eating good food, which I'll explain in a second, and I'm recovering properly. On top of my recovery cycles, I monitor my resting heart rate as well as my HRV to get an idea of how my body is adapting to training stress and other stressors as well. And then whenever business is busier, I just dedicate more time to work and I push my workouts back later in the day. So in terms of recovery, I just explained what I do. In terms of fueling, I have my chef in and I just buy the highest quality ingredients that I can. I have carbs and fiber and a healthy grass-fed, grass-finished protein in the mix, and I just have protein shakes when I can't get my protein numbers in. I don't track them religiously. I don't feel like I need to, as I did a gut test and I currently rebalanced my gut, and that helped solve a lot of the problems. Finally, in terms of my performance, I have our coach, an 824 Ironman, Jameson Pluis. He does all my cycling training, and then on the back end, I just do weights 2 to 3 times a week, and that's what I'm doing in the summer. That's my simple process right now, and the only reason why this works is because it's repeatable. I've been doing this consistently for the past 2, 3, 4 years. It hasn't gone away. So there's nothing really that I need to change. Sure, I can add in more supplements here and there if I start seeing indigestion or a stomach problem or parasite, or if I'm too hot and I need to recover and I'll add cold plunging. But that's the core non-negotiables that I've laid out for myself. And that's what I live by. But I couldn't do this all alone. I've delegated my coaching, delegated my cooking, delegated my cleaning, as well as delegated the meal planning and all those things to my team because I have to focus on building our product and expanding our client base. The biggest thing of all is just not self-sabotaging. And this is something that people do not talk about extensively. Constantly realigning myself with divinity, love, and constantly questioning how is my ego causing constraints on my day-to-day life is by far the strongest aspect of this entire routine. It's very easy to overthink in business and in fitness and in life in general, and I have to make sure that I'm solid and I'm constantly in states of abundance as opposed to scarcity. And this health routine is exactly what has made me a better entrepreneur because I am my business. I'm doing what I do for myself for other people and solving their problems and their constraints. And so fundamentally speaking, if I were to go run an info offer or a SaaS or something along the lines of, hey, I'll generate you X amount of money if you pay me X amount of dollars, wouldn't really necessarily be aligned. So the direct ROI on being aligned with myself as to the product that I'm creating has given me a lot of introspection and a lot of insight to how to actually make my product better. And the typical I don't have time excuse that a lot of people use is complete bullshit. You're with your body every single day. You have to make time, and the way that you make time for your body is a direct correlation to your output. So let's break down how you can build your own health automation system. The first thing you have to do to systemize your health is deep dive and understand where is inflammation hiding in your systems of fuel, performance, and recovery. Your inflammation can be things from your mental health all the way to your digestive system to just ankle problems. Figure out where inflammation is flowing in those 3 areas. Do the proper testing to identify how those things are affecting you and how to heal them, and then hire a housekeeper, chef, or somebody to expertly curate all those things in your life without lifting your finger. On top of that, talk to a doctor, a physio, or anyone that you need that has identified where your limitations are with those constraints. Take your notes and go through each one of those professionals and see and use that data as well as AI to put it all together for you. That way, you know exactly what you have to do for your fuel, performance, and recovery without wasting your time to effectively heal yourself. And then once you're healed, then you can start to take on crazy endeavors and start to expand your consciousness in terms of the limitations of your body. Once you do that, you'll notice immediate output levels increasing. But until you're healed and until you're fully at face value with the constraints on yourself, you're going to be lost. And ultimately, this is what we do for people. We have the highest level doctors and coaches and testing, and we set this up for everybody all over the world. And if you're struggling with your health, check out our website down below for all of our case studies of our 7, 8, 9, and 10-figure guys and what they've thought of the service. This is by far the smartest principle and needle mover that you can do as a 7+ figure business owner.